What's up, guys? My name is Jerry, and I'm going to make them a better team going into next season. Two of their most notable moves were bringing in Jerami Grant and also Payton II, and they also were able to draft a guy in Shaedon Sharpe that has tremendous upside. And the NBA season still doesn't start for some time, but I was looking at the Trailblazers, looking at their roster, and I was thinking that this lineup could be very lethal next season. And this lineup will be Damian Lillard at the 1, Payton II at the 2, Josh Hart at the 3, Jerami Grant at the 4, and Yusuf Nurkic at the 5. And the first thing I want to do is look at what all of these guys bring to the table individually, and we're going to start with Damian Lillard. Now, there's not much I can tell you guys about Damian Lillard that you don't already know. He is one of the best players in the NBA, and when he's healthy, he's a top 2 point guard in this league. And there's so many things that make Damian Lillard special, and one of them is that he can do everything on the offensive side of the ball, starting off with his limitless range. That's probably the most eye-popping thing about his game. As soon as he crosses half court, he is a threat to knock down the 3-point shot, and he's also an elite 3-level scorer. We know he can knock down the 3-point shot off the catch and off the dribble. He's very lethal in the mid-range game. He can get to the rim. I think situations he thrives in the pick and roll as a scorer and as a playmaker. He's also very dangerous in isolation situations. Not too many players can stay in front of Damian Lillard one-on-one for the entirety of a ball game. And then also he's pretty good without the basketball in his hands as well. He does a great job of running off screens, coming off pin downs to knock down his spot up 3-point shot. So Damian Lillard is the complete offensive player, and he's going to be the driving force for the Portland Trailblazers next season. Now, the next player in our starting 5 is Payton II, who I am a huge fan of, and a lot of people think that the Portland Trailblazers overpaid for him, but I definitely don't think so, because I think he's one of those players that's going to make those championship plays for you. And Payton really excels on the defensive side of the ball, and watching him play, he looks like the best on-ball defender in the league. The way that he's able to pick players up 96 feet and give them problems the entire possession, I think that's truly special. But he's a very versatile defender. He has some decent size. He's also very strong, and he's pretty athletic as well. It allows him to do a lot of things on the defensive side of the ball. He also stays engaged when he's playing off-ball defense, really active playing help defense and getting in the passing lane. And also, he just has great defensive instincts. He has great discipline. He knows when to reach. He knows when to not jump at a pump fake, and he knows when to jump up and go block the ball. He's just a great all-around defensive player, and offensively, he knows when to be in the right spot at the right time. He's a great player in transition, and a lot of the time, he's the person igniting the transition offense, so that is where he thrives offensively. And then in the half court, he can knock down the wide open 3-point shot. He's also pretty good in the dunker spot, and he's a very smart cutter, so I think he's going to fit great alongside players like Damian Lillard, Anthony Simons, the point guards on this team. They're going to love playing with Payton II. The next player we're going to be looking at is Josh Hart, who will play the small forward position for this lineup, and I think he is poised for a breakout season. We look at Josh Hart every year of his NBA career, he has just steadily improved, and in his 13 games with the Portland Trailblazers, he put up 20 points to go along with 5 rebounds and 4 assists. And we look at his game when he first came into the league, specifically on the offensive side of the ball, he excelled just as a catch and shooter. And we look at him to his most recent year, he has got so much better offensively. He can still knock down the 3-point shot off the catch, but he has a little bit more self-shot creation to his game. He can put the basketball on the floor, and he can knock down both the 3-point shot and the mid-range shot off the dribble. He can also get to the rim and finish strong, and he's also become a much better playmaker. And defensively, he's going to be another player in this this lineup that can guard multiple positions, and he can also rebound the basketball very well for a player his size. So I like Josh Hart in this lineup. And next at the 4, we're going to be looking at Jerami Grant. I'm going to miss Jerami Grant playing for my Detroit Pistons, man. I hope you guys take good care of him, but he's a player that can do so many great things on offense and defense. And what you got to love about him on the offensive side of the ball is that he can be effective with and without the basketball. He's able to score from all 3 levels. He can knock down the 3-point shot, really good in the mid-range area, and he's a great finisher. He's also added some post moves to his bag. He has the post fade, the post spin, really solid footwork down there. He can also operate the pick and roll, and he can also get a bucket in isolation. And without the basketball in his hands, he excels at knocking down catch and shoot threes, and he's also a really great cutter. So I think he's going to fit well with the Portland Trailblazers offense. And defensively, he has great size, great length, and it allows him to be a versatile defender, which means he can guard multiple positions. And honestly, I think Jerami Grant could guard 1 through 4 and 1 through 5, depending on who the opposing big is on the court at the time. So he's a really good offensive and defensive player, and I think he's a borderline all-star caliber player. And lastly, certainly not least, we have the big man Yusuf Nurkic, who will be playing the 5 position in this lineup, and he's a very solid player as well. Now, Nurkic does a great job of playing with his back to the basket. He has tremendous footwork, also has great strength, so he can kill you with finesse or he can kill you with his brute force. He is also a great passer from the post position. He can knock down mid-range jump shots, and if it's a game where he's really feeling it and he's on fire, he can step out and knock down the 3-point shot. He's also really good in pick and roll situations as the screener. He sets some of the best screens in the NBA, and he does a great job of rolling to the rim and finishing. And he's also a really solid rebounder. So all of these guys are pretty good individually, and I think they'll have the ability to work together well as a team too. So offensively, I think this lineup is going to have the potential to be lethal in the half court and in transition. Looking at what they can do on the fast break, they will have 4 guys who can catch the outlet pass or go grab a rebound and push the ball in transition. Jerami Grant, GP2, Damian Lillard, Josh Hart, all those guys have good enough body and ball control to drive the basketball up the court. And then in the half court sets, I could see this lineup doing a bunch of different things. I think what we would see the most is definitely the Damian Lillard and Yusuf Nurkic pick and roll. I think that's where Damian Lillard is the most dangerous because he is so hard to figure out in those pick and roll situations. We could also see them run some plays for guys like Payton II and Jerami Grant to get them open on backdoor cuts. We could see them run the offense through Yusuf Nurkic, who is a great post player and can generate a lot of offense just by being aggressive. We can see them run some plays where Damian Lillard, Josh Hart, Jerami Grant, those guys are coming off screens and pin downs to get open for 3-point shots. And what I like about this lineup is that they have 2 guys that can go out and create their own shot. And if we're counting Yusuf Nurkic, who can play in the post and go out and create his own shot, that's 3 guys right there. And then you have Josh Hart, who is getting continuously better on the offensive side of the ball. And then you have the glue guy in Payton II holding everything together. And defensively, these guys are going to be just fine because they have multiple guys who can guard multiple positions. Payton II can guard multiple positions, and so can Josh Hart and Jerami Grant. And this is so important for Damian Lillard because there won't be that much defensive pressure on him. And then they have Yusuf Nurkic on the back end. So this is why I really like this lineup. I hope we get to see it at one point next season. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and then subscribe for more weekly content. We do this all the time, man. And that's curtains.